go get it. Try to tell them get a bag, but niggas ain't get it. For all the shit I never had, I'ma go get it. These niggas ain't with me, remember them days when I ain't have a penny. Remember them days in the slum we were robbing and clutching the semis.
Yo, really, what's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy CL. Welcome back to StonerLife TV, man. If you're a stoner, this the place to be, man. You know what I'm saying? The on coach's weed. Everything's on me, man. We back at it again with another banger, man. What's going on, man? And next up, excuse me. We had a sad story of Harlem Spartans by Kid Nerd, bro. Now look, man, you already know, man, I'm a big fan of these boys, Mr. Mac, Lowski, these boys. Well, Lowski really not a part of, well, he kind of is a part of Harlem Spartans, but Mr. Mac, I'm a big fan of Mr. Mac, bro. We know right now he locked up some crazy shit. That shit crazy. But I ain't finna hold y'all boys. Finna get into this video. If y'all new to this channel, y'all make sure y'all leave a like on the video. Make sure y'all comment down below for my video. Drop me out to next. Y'all make sure y'all please hit that subscribe button, bro. And then y'all into this video. We got a sad story of Harlem Spartans. Let's see what he talking about on here.
Guys, your boy Kid Nerd here, back with another video. And today, we're exploring the rise and fall of South London drill group, Harlem Spartans, and what a lot of young people nowadays can take and learn from their rise and fall. But before I get into this video, follow me on Instagram for a chance to win a £100 Amazon gift card. Insta is on the screen now, so get following for the chance to win that. Let's get into the area on the map, with smash hits like Kenton Where in the South London town of Kenton. And Harlem really put the area on the map, with smash hits like Kenton Where It Started, which is now on 16 million views. And around these times in 2016 to 2017, they were really the biggest things out in drill, and were even one of the biggest pushers for UK drill to be played in the international level, with rappers like Drake being heavy fans of the group. And they were even big influences for overseas drill groups to start making their music, like the popular Australian drill group 1-4. But behind all these numbers and recognition, real stuff was going on in the streets, and due to their come up being so fast and explosive, it was clear that the group hadn't adjusted yet to keeping the streets and their music separate, which resulted in the massive eventual downfall of their group. So before Harlem Spartans became a thing, the local gang in the Kenton area was called Cuckoo, also known as Black Prince, who were a quite small and not really that recognised gang in South London, in times where South London was a complete war zone. This was during the infamous beef between the two neighbouring areas in South London called Brixton and Peckham, where Kenton was on Peckham's side against Brixton. Kenton didn't really have that much involvement in this feud, but in 2006 they did stab to death a 15-year-old Brixton gang member called Tiny Alien right after he finished his year 11 GCSE exams. So the area of Kenton where Harlem Spartans are from has historically always had a feud with Brixton gangs, and throughout the years the area has picked up quite a few other enemies like Peckham, who they were close allies with during their war against Brixton. But despite the area's smaller gang size, they have still managed to hold down all their beef. And then the younger generation of Kenton started to form, who we know now today as Harlem Spartans. Most members from Harlem went to a school called Tennyson's in Oval, South London, but this school also included a lot of kids from Brixton as well as Kenton. And obviously, Kenton and Brixton Olders were beefing at the time, but this wasn't a concern for Harlem members during school. And during school, members of Harlem and kids from Brixton were actually friends, and quite a few Harlem members used to rep Brixton gangs during secondary school, like Mr. Mac, who used to rep the Brixton Gang 17, and Lowski, who used to rep the Brixton Gang 150. And even in a few songs, Harlem members and members from an opposing Brixton gang called 410 reference their friendship.
Lowski young as hell out there on some shit, nigga. That way Lowski young as hell. That's crazy.
Harlem members and members from an opposing Brixton gang called 410 reference their friendships in their songs.
My siblings, deal with my friend from years, boy from there, soon near victim. We know.
But these friendships were before Harlem was really properly formed into a group. And after Harlem members left Tennyson School and started to go to college, older members of the Cuckoo gang, who were running Kenton at the time, started to take these younger Harlem members under their wing. We started off with Harlem members chilling on the Kenton blocks alongside the older Cuckoo gang. And then eventually the younger started to trap off Cuckoo members' lines and making money alongside them. And this is how a lot of gang affiliation starts, with older members bringing you in to chill around the gang, which will eventually result in you making money with the olders, probably trapping. And then eventually, after spending a lot of time with these guys, you will see them as family. And the next thing you know, you're throwing up gang signs and riding for these people. So while Harlem was starting to chill in Kenton more heavily with the older gang Cuckoo, Brixton gangs who beefed Cuckoo started to recognized the younger Harlem members to be wrapped up in this beef as well. And this was really the start of Harlem Spartans' gang involvement. Originally the gang came under two separate sets, one called Kenton Park and one called Younger Cuckoo. But eventually the lines got blurred between these two, and they decided to roll as Harlem Spartans. Then in 2014, the group started to record music at a local youth center, and started releasing some tracks in 2015, with early tunes like Re-Up, 3000 Savage and Shit Then, coming from the two Harlem rappers Blanco and Biz, as well as other rappers TG Million and Zico dropping solo tunes, and younger Harlem members like C-Rose dropping some exclusives. But C-Rose didn't allow himself to grow in music properly, because in the same year of 2015, he was convicted of manslaughter and was sentenced to 16 years in prison. It was really when Harlem rapper Lowski jumped on the scene that the gang really started to get some recognition. And the song that really took off was Lowski's song Hazards in June 2016, which was literally the song of the summer that year. You couldn't go anywhere in London without that song being played. And the reason why this song took off so much wasn't just because it sounded good. At the time, this was one of the most disrespectful drill tunes out, with a couple direct disses towards a Brixton gang called 150, when Lowski said,
Violence, no meds. They say 150, but it's 146. Should have friend them dead.
and this is in reference to the 4 150 members who had died at the time, which were...
Damn. That was cold, Los. Ski, that was cold.
Should have friend them dead.
And this is in reference to the 4 150 members who had died at the time, which were Pistol, SQ, Gauze and Jay Munner. But one of his next lines was one of the most disrespectful lines in drill.
Hey, shorty just walked so long, looking at Dora's coffin.
Gora was a respected member of the 150 gang who had died in 2015 after he borrowed money off another 150 member but refused to pay it back. So the other 150 member just shot and killed him. Now after Lowski just mocked Gora, 150 members weren't happy about this obviously, and the 150 rapper called Sticks shortly after posted a video of himself on Harlem's block. Also, in some leaked Twitter messages between the same members, Sticks and somebody else, you can see Sticks says they're mashing work on the field youths, which basically means that Harlem were putting some real pressure on them on the streets. And the field youths that Sticks was referring to was another gang called 410 in Brixton, who were allied with the 150 gang and were beefing Harlem. For a fairly newly established gang, Harlem were really starting to make some noise in the music and on the streets. There's hella videos on YouTube of Harlem members attacking 410 members on CCTV and cameras. Shortly after the release of Lowski's diss track Hazards in 2016, he went to jail for possession of a knife, which he got quite a bit of time for. But luckily for him and the group, the other members of Harlem picked up where he left off and started growing the Harlem Spartans name, dropping UK drill classics at the end of 2016 and the start of 2017, like Call Me a Spartan and Kenton Where It Started, which was literally on replay all throughout the UK in 2017, and even got the Canadian rapper Drake co-signing Harlem Spartan.
Oh, we can't have no ass on here, bro. Come on, bro. What's up with that?
And captioning his Snapchats with Harlem lyrics. Quite early on, another Harlem rapper called Jojo was arrested and sentenced to 7 years in prison for possession of a knife, a firearm, grievous bodily harm and robbery, which is a real small sentence for all them crimes. And it's a shame because Jojo had the real potential to blow up in the drill scene. But on the other side of the pond, their ops, 410 in Brixton, were also killing the music game in 2017, especially their Mad About Bars, which is on nearly 30 million views. And both 410 and Harlem were at the top of the game in 2017, and would even often sneak diss each other in hit songs. But despite Harlem Spartans really taking off in 2017, 2017 was also their start of their downfall. After the Call Me a Spartan video was released, Harlem rapper TG Million got into a high-speed chase with one of his ops. When catching up, he stabbed him, causing grievous bodily harm, and he was eventually found guilty and sentenced to 12 years. This left the rappers Mizzo Mac, Blanco and Biz to hold it down for the group, while the rest were inside. But that was no issue, with Mizzo Mac being probably one of the best drill artists the UK has ever seen, and Blanco and Biz having their own unique style that fans love, with the three dropping some classics like 21st Century Spartans, Ken Nizzy and No Hook. But there was one issue. Fans started to notice that Mizzo Mac and Blanco wasn't in the No Hook music video, despite it being their own song. Well, not too long before the video, Blanco and Mizzo Mac actually got arrested themselves while riding on their ops with a gun and samurai sword in February 2017. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, and both were in the back of a cab in Camberwell, South London, looking for ops, when their cab got pulled over and they were caught with a gun and samurai sword. Mizzo Mac got 6 years and Blanco got 3 years. And it was starting to come clear that Harlem's beef with opposite areas started to take over their music. And Harlem started to become very heavily monitored by police, which just made everything hot for them, because they were really putting in some work on the streets. Then in June of 2017, Harlem's original main rapper, Lowski, was released from jail, and wasted no time releasing his first tune, Teddy Bruckshaw, which was an instant hit, dropping other bangers like Money and Beef, Call Me Loose, and his Tim Westwood freestyle. And also at the end of 2017, dropping another song with a rapper called Lowski called Mummy's Kitchen, which was a very rude song to their ops. Lowski is from a gang called Moscow 17, which is allied with Harlem, and their main beef was with a gang called Zone 2 located in Peckham, southeast London, which is also a very hot beef, which I won't go into too much in this video because I might make a separate video on this in the future. But throughout the Mummy's Kitchen song, they dissed dead ops and different street situations. It started to seem like Harlem was making a comeback though, with Lowski growing massively and younger Harlem members starting to jump on drill, like on drills and LM, and they were also starting to rack up views as well. So 2018 was looking like a good bounce back from Harlem. But then on May 5th, 2018, a car pulled up to Moscow 17's block, the gang which was affiliated with Harlem, which I mentioned earlier, while a 17-year-old rapper called GB from Moscow was playing football with another member called Incognito on their block. GB was shot and killed, but the gang who killed GB was actually trying to kill Incognito after Incognito beat a murder case of an affiliated member. And this murder is actually still unsolved, so I'm not going to speculate who killed GB, because I only talk about situations which have actually already been prosecuted for. The death of GB made South London very, very hot at the time, with both sides riding out heavily during the whole summer.
Who's these damn kids, man? What video is this, bro? Who is these damn kids? Sheesh.
GB made South London very, very hot at the time, with both sides riding out heavily during the whole summer, and both sides taking many snaps in each other's block and dissing each other.
I don't know what. I don't know. Huh? Was that attempted? Was it the murder?
Come outside, man! Come outside, man! Come outside! Very much. Wish a nigga would. And 2 months after GB's death, unfortunately the beef was stepped up to another level. Rapper SA from Harlem was riding on his ops block on the back of a moped, loaded with a gun looking for his ops. When he spotted some ops in the car, he got close and aimed his gun, but his gun jammed and he was stabbed 5 times. SA and his other accomplice drove away after SA was stabbed, but after a half of a mile of riding away, the other accomplice pushed SA off the ped and shouted to the public to take him to hospital, more than likely to save himself from being wrapped up in the situation. The member who pushed SA off the ped was actually from Harlem's affiliated gang called Moscow 17. And of course, Harlem was not happy about one of their members pushing SA off the ped and leaving him to die. So both gangs started to go back and forth, which caused a big divide between them. But less than 2 weeks after SA's death, Moscow 17's leader was also stabbed to death.
Hell nah. Of course I won't be happy with that shit. No, but nigga, y'all just push my dog off the bike? Let him die? Hell nah.
Divide between them. But less than 2 weeks after SA's death, Moscow 17's leader was also stabbed to death on the same street where GB was killed. And Incognito was even one of the only Moscow members left that Harlem was still cool with at the time. But after these recent L's, Harlem were riding a lot and were going on an absolute rampage. But at the same time, Harlem Spartans were being monitored by the police heavily. Harlem rapper G Smarko rid on his ops block for revenge and shot a rival and was sentenced to 21 years in prison. Another Harlem rapper Scratcher and GG were riding out on their ops with a gun and were cool. Then were sentenced to 15 years combined. And another member of Harlem, Jug, was jailed for 10 years after stabbing a man in the head, leaving permanent brain damage. And member T-Trap, another member of Harlem Spartans, was jailed for 21 years after murdering a man who disrespected one of his friends. So as I said before, Harlem were just going on a rampage after losing their friends. And
well, just murking shit left or right, nigga, like anything, just bagging shit, bro. That's crazy. These niggas were really out there.
Disrespected one of his friends. So as I said before, Harlem were just going on the rampage after losing their friends, and clearly started to focus more on their beef than the music. But Lowski was still holding it down for the group musically, still getting millions of views on his songs. But in 2019, it seemed like the roads were getting the best of him again, when he was arrested in his cab while he had a firearm on him, leaving the Harlem rapper Biz to be the only free rapper of Harlem Spartans still out. But when Biz was going home after his last music video called Beretta at the end of 2019, he started to get into an argument with some people on the phone, which he then arranged to meet after the argument. When he met the guys he was arguing with, he attempted to swing a mallet at the guys, but dropped it and was set upon and stabbed to death, right after filming one of his best music videos, which is now on 2.1 million views, leaving the gang pretty much all wiped out. Quite a few members of the gang also got time for drug offences, years. Like Old Boy, he was caught when officers spotted people in the queue outside of his trap house and was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months for possession with intent to supply. And Snow, he was caught in Wales running a county line drug operation and was sentenced to 4 years. And Hector, he was caught drug trafficking and was sentenced to 4 years as well. Both rappers, Miz and Mac and Lowski, have both been released from jail since and teamed up and made the song called On Me that went viral. And it seemed like the gang might have been revived, especially after the rapper Blanco was also freed. But since then, Miz and Mac and Lowski have both been sent back to jail and are currently there right now. And this is the end to a sad story of a group who were on top but allowed the streets to consume what they had, which I really hope is a wake-up call to a lot of people that the streets really cannot lead to anywhere but death or prison. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been your boy Kid Nerd, and peace out.
Facts, man. Yeah, man. But we know Lowski out right now. Miz and Mac still in, man. Free that boy Miz and Mac. Shout out to Harlem Spartans, man. That's crazy. So much shit be going on, bro. Now it's just like Lowski really in this shit by himself type shit. That's crazy, man. But yo, shout out Kid Nerd. That's it for this video. Y'all make sure y'all leave a like on the video. Make sure y'all comment down below on the video. I'm gonna tune next. Yeah, make sure y'all please hit that subscribe button, bro. We out, man. StonerLife TV.